Mary Teresa Scratch, and I am a Shodan in Aiki Ju-Jitsu Nintai and an Idan in Canada Ju-Jitsu. What brought me to martial arts is pretty simple. It was curiosity. I was walking down the street with my daughter, who was 4 at the time, and we were walking to a park to feed the ducks and saw a bunch of children come out of a dojo, and we both thought, what's that about? And we went in, and it was a Ju-Jitsu school, and we were hooked. We had our introduction the next day, and that was 11 years ago. What changed in me through martial arts is a little more confidence. I do have 4 older brothers, and we're all very close in age, so this kind of rough and tumble kind of play or expression has been with me for a long time, but I think martial arts has mainly brought a lot more confidence in myself, my abilities, more outgoing, so a side effect to just self-defense and knowing that my body is a tool to help myself in bad situations is definitely confidence and a lot more larger self-esteem and just a very general, more positive outlook or in-look of myself. I spent a lot of time reflecting on what difficulties I have faced in martial arts when the question was presented to me, and I think there's been a couple. One of them is internal. Well, it's a male-dominated kind of area, and often when I was first started out, I was the only female on the mat, and that really has nothing to do with anything except for my own self, that I'm training with just these big guys, and here I am, and trying to make sure that I was seen as equal has definitely been a big challenge, whether the person is 6'5" or whatever, or much bigger, to see myself belonging on the same mat as these big guys was definitely a challenge. I think externally, the fact that I was mostly the only girl or a few females on the mat, that I was seen as weaker with some people, and there have been times where my gender has been said that it is a disadvantage on the mat a few times, and that's definitely a challenge that I've made very strong, that I beat and I show myself and I show others that gender has nothing to do with martial arts, and I don't see that now, but in the past it's definitely been some challenges. So the gender equality or inequality has been a big challenge. One of the previous dojos where I've trained, there was this, it was a motivational speech for people who were about to do their Shodan exam, so the black belt exam, and one of the people was saying that this is a time for you to shine, and we know your limitations, whether it's age or injury or gender, and that was said to my face. I wasn't testing at that time, but the person who was testing I was with as a UK was female, and so we spoke to the person at the head of the school and said this is not okay, and then we made a point to have the best exam that was ever seen, and I really think we achieved that. So again, it was proving, which we shouldn't have to, but proving ourselves on the mat even more so than what they ever expected. What I do to overcome these challenges is just train, just show discipline, just be myself, and show myself that I do deserve to be here, that gender has nothing to do with anything. Again, I don't really face that challenge now. The only time that I face that is when I am training with some of the guys here that are much bigger, and I'm doing my best to be equal with them. But it's just training, completely trained all the time, and be here mentally when I train. I have kind of dabbled in some boxing, and I did the Canada Ju-Jitsu and then the Aiki Ju-Jitsu. There has been some judo in the past when I was a child, and some karate as well, but that kind of filtered off as I got older. The Aiki Ju-Jitsu differs on so many levels, but I think the obvious levels are the forms and the techniques. They are a lot more natural, a lot more pure, and a lot more effective. Hench Pascal Suri is very insistent on our stances being a natural guard stance and our ending and our beginning positions, so we're not practicing and changing the way our body stands, the way our body protects ourselves, that we just go naturally with the flow of what our body does such a big difference. And there's the clean effectiveness of the techniques is there's no overkill, there's no 100 strikes, there's just, if you're in a situation and someone grabs at you, you get in, get out as soon as possible and as effectively as possible. And that is so different. It's not flashy. Another big difference is that it's not ego-driven. There's, when you do a technique right, all the instructors here don't just come and give you big high fives or, you know, throw confetti in the air that you did it. You gain knowledge and experience and confidence knowing that you did it right. You don't need that external, way to go, you're the best type of thing here. It's just all about the training, all about the form, all about internal confidence here, which is very different. There's no crazy nicknames, there's no high fives, there's no anything like that. It's just you gain confidence and you know you're doing it right when they just walk by. And I think that's so important in this generation because there's such a sense of entitlement, except when you come here, you do it right, done, move on, away you go.
Deuxième. Deuxième. On est déjà placé. Voilà. Pas de chute, juste entrer. Et des équilibres à chaque fois.
I think it's important for moms especially, but everyone who works a 9 to 5 to find time for themselves. Like, how I find time is that I make time. In the past I haven't, and I just give myself to the work, to the dojo, to all this kind of stuff, to managing, and not having time for myself. I was giving less and less, and every person needs to find something for themselves, and so I don't find the time, I make the time. I make the time to train 3 or 4 times a week. I make the time to come to the dojo and train because it's so important for my mental health, and therefore it's important to my children's mental health, my fiance's mental health, my work's mental health. So if I take care of myself better, which through martial arts is pretty much the best way I can take care of myself, then I'm taking care of everyone else as well.